Success is the child of drudgery and perseverance. It cannot be coaxed or bribed. Pay the price and it is yours. Orison Swett Marden. My friends, our drudgery and perseverance is 10 to 15 minutes each and every day. You cannot coax this. You cannot bribe it. The price to pay is being busy each and every day for just a few minutes to follow price movement and learn how to read these charts. Patreon members, we release to you this week's Charting Cryptos and Commodities. I think you'll find it interesting. We're using one of our newest charts, what we call the three price frame or three time frame chart. And it actually, you'll see at the same time, the half day, 2-day, and weekly. It's a great chart. I love it. We have volume on there. We have Heikin-Ashi candlesticks. And you will see from using that chart how effective just those two things are, along with trend lines. We're going to be using that more and more as we move into the future. I've really fallen in love with it. Now, let's jump into these charts, see where things are going. We're going to jump first into the S&P 500. Of course, we had things cross over back on Monday, where in the morning we had things go from red to green. And of course, we jumped into that trade. And what did we see happen? Well, it popped up a little higher in the afternoon. And then, of course, dropped down some the next day, and then of course on Wednesday morning, but then things started to recover and are shooting up quite nicely, up for the day 1.10%. Now we're a positive 1 on the success multiplier formula since we're in the green on the STC. We go to the 2-day chart. You can see we're in the green there at another 4, pushing through this latest candle, pushing through the 200 exponential moving average on the 2-day chart with a nice green up candle. And the weekly above the 200 EMA, it is green also. That's another 10 points. So we're at a positive 15, which is as good as it gets when it comes to the success multiplier formula, showing you that, of course, all three charts are in the green when it comes to the STC and the candlesticks. We're moving up quite nicely. That trade is going well. We'll now go back to the half-day chart, transition over to the NASDAQ 100. What do we see going on there? Well, we can see on this half-day chart that the NASDAQ 100 is going up, sort of similar to the S&P 500. The only problem was we didn't have a reset on the STC to allow us to jump back into that. So we are just waiting for that to occur, and it's okay. You don't have to capture everything all the time. NASDAQ 100 up for the day 1.95%. We look at the 2-day. It's heading up, still below the 200 EMA, though. Hasn't cleared that yet. And the weekly, pushing through the 200 exponential moving average on that weekly chart. Green also on the STC. That's where we are with stocks, up nicely for the day. We're going to go back to the 195-minute chart. Go to bonds. Bonds have really been slipping sideways for the last day and a half. They popped up nicely. We saw on Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday afternoon lost some of that luster and then down for the day. It was up at one point. I've been following TLT pretty closely, and then ended up down for the day, started moving down after the morning drop, but ended up down 0.47%. It's red, turned to green, and then went back to red on the STC on that half-day chart. We look at where things are on the 2-day, well below the 200 EMA, and again, you can see that sideways slippage. 3 2-day candles, still green on the STC. What about the weekly? The weekly, again, 2 weeks of up movement, and then this week it is green, but falling off. So we'll see how things continue to progress on the TLT, or 20-year U.S. government Treasury bonds. Let's move on to gold. Gold backing off, down 0.90% for the day. See where it popped up nicely on Wednesday afternoon and then down a lot in the morning, recovered a little bit in the afternoon. but still a down day for gold. If we check out the volume there, you can see where the volume really pumped up in the morning, and then that volume let off some in the afternoon, not down as much. So you really had a lot of selling in the morning, and that slacked off some in the afternoon. So we'll keep an eye on gold. Why are we paying attention to gold dropping? Because we want it to drop so that we can reset, which we've now gone below this gray area. We've reset the STC so that we can potentially jump back into it if indeed gold starts to go up again. Where are we on the 2-day on gold? It is still in the green, but we can see where we've got a green spinning top now. STC's green candle well above the 200 EMA, but for the moment, gold has backed off. Now we've seen gold do that a couple of times and then pop up again, and that may be what it's getting ready to do. So we'll keep an eye on that. On the weekly, we see where we have reached a higher high this week, smaller candle. Let's just check out where volume is. Well, we can see as things have gone higher, volume has dropped off. So again, we're not getting higher spikes in volume. Candles are also reducing, so tells us something. We'll pay attention to that and just see where gold goes. Now, back to the half-day chart, and we'll take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin up for the day 1.11%. We can see on this half-day chart where Bitcoin has spiked up over the last few weeks. Had a drop on Wednesday morning. Does that make sense there? Let me make sure we got the whole thing in. Are we on the... We're on the half-day. Let's see here. There's Wednesday morning. Had the drop on Wednesday morning, and then I'm looking for my... Doesn't make sense. There's no Wednesday afternoon here. Am I missing that? Yeah. I don't know what happened to Wednesday afternoon. That is completely bizarre. There's no Wednesday afternoon reading. Down on Wednesday morning and then up on Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon. I don't know why we're missing a half-day candle there. Got no idea. But anyway, up for the day. It popped up more in the morning, bled off a little bit in the afternoon as we look at, let's see if we can pull that down, stretch it out a little bit for us. There we go. As we look at the chart here, let's move on to the 2-day. And of course, on the 2-day, we're going to crank that in now. We can see we're topping off to about where that most recent high in the past was back in August 11. Are we going to go above that, or is that going to be a ceiling? We can see where we've hit that for the last few days. Let's see what that ends up doing. On the weekly chart, we'll crank that down a little bit so we can see it. You can also see on the weekly chart, hit about the same spot here, that $24 mark or so. We'll keep a close eye on things and see what Bitcoin does. Of course, what we are waiting for is to have a nice reset, particularly on this half-day chart, and to see, and if we go to 24-hour Bitcoin, you can see, let me get on the weekly here, you can see what we want to have happen here is we want Bitcoin to clear this 200 EMA to go from the downtrend to the uptrend. That'll also give us some positive feelings about this thing continuing into. If we can clear this ceiling here from the past, that would be nice too. This is the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart. That's the reason that we have a 200 EMA. We don't have it on the ETF. Remember, the ETF is a short-term future. Close month, it is actually traded on the exchanges as an ETF as opposed to you having to go to one of the online crypto exchanges in order to buy and sell actual Bitcoin. It's the reason we have been practice trading for many, many months now, since November, 2021, when we first had the 3 approved by the exchanges. We had the 3 approved ETFs. The reason we've been tracking the Van Eck is because it has the lowest fees associated with it. And prior to the Bitcoin drop, we had some successful trades tracking it. So we're hoping that's going to be happening again. My friends, thank you so much for being with us. We always love to hear from you. CW@chartingwealth.com. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth, World Headquarters.